We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
And we're back here on extended special edition Liberty Nation Radio discussing Trump's legal travails. Now, in the first segment, we were talking about Jack Smith, the Washington, D.C. case. Now we're moving just a little further up the coast to New York City, where Donald Trump's actually facing two big cases, although only one of them with felony indictments on the docket. Scott, thanks for coming back. Now, New York City, that's Trump's home turf. Well, that's his former home turf before he and just about everybody else moved out, with any wealth moved out of the city. But there's two cases there, Scott. Could you give us a quick rundown on what both those cases are?
Well, the criminal trial, of course, is more serious because there's criminal jeopardy that's attached to it. And that is that the New York District Attorney Alvin Bragg wants to put Donald Trump in a cage for the crime of a hush money payment that he made to Stormy Daniels to conceal the existence of an extramarital dalliance he made with her that she was threatening to reveal for payment by basically tabloid payment. It was, exploring the notion that maybe Mr. Trump would like to conceal this by paying money. She hired a lawyer to threaten. It's basically a legal way.
Sorry, let me just jump in. Was that lawyer Mr. Michael Avenatti, prisoner 92410?
No. He came afterwards. This other lawyer was before Avenatti, and he specialized
24601. I should have said, right? Jean Valjean. Sorry.
She knew who to go to. This person specialized in basically helping young women extract money payments from people who they had sexual relations with, who wished to conceal that fact. And the women were threatening, basically, like I said, it's like a legal way to bribe somebody. Like, oh, this person's going to write an autobiography detailing, their sexual conquest.
If only she was so busy shopping that she didn't have time to do it.
So that's what it comes from. He paid the money, and it came from a corporate account, and like the labeling on the payment or something like that was the fig leaf that Mr. Bragg has used to prosecute Donald Trump. Again, this is one of those, like many of the instances in the cases against Donald Trump, this is using a law in a way it has never been used before to prosecute somebody. Again, not because of who they are or their politics, Mark, but just to represent the interests of the people. Obviously, the fantastic amount of resources that are being spent by the New York DA's office could not be better used, to other purposes.
I'm sorry, my computer recording equipment is slowing down because of all the sarcasm being stuffed into its circuit boards. Now, so that's 34 counts, I believe. 34 felony counts based on a single payment. It's really like it's a multiplier thing. It's like, well, there was some paperwork, and then there was some paperwork about the check, and then there was the check, and then there was the check went to this, and then it went to that, and all of these have kind of multiplied into, as you say, a novel application of a law, which is it's quite fascinating. But the more fascinating
for those who appreciate irony, Mark, if you can put a pin in what you were just about to say. In New York State, they've now opened up these marijuana stores where people can legally buy marijuana, but they gave the licenses out only to minority applicants who were convicted of drug crimes in New York. So the famous Rockefeller laws made it out like it was perhaps one of the worst things you could do besides kill somebody in New York was to deal drugs. And they rewarded only the people who were so bad at doing so that they got caught and convicted of crimes with their thing. And in the same breath, they're prosecuting Donald Trump to the ends of the earth for this paperwork violation that he used, again, to conceal the payment of an to conceal an extramarital affair. It is, and also has nothing whatsoever to do with the fact that they're opposed to him politically. Don't ever say that. Because one thing is for sure.
The computer's freezing up with that sarcasm again. Okay, now there's also the other case in New York City that's being brought by Letitia James, as she said she would when she campaigned for office.
How dare you, Mark? That has nothing to do, again, with politics.
Just background.
It's just about justice.
So anyway, she's going after him. Now, this is a civil case. It's a non-jury trial. Judge Arthur Engoron has already declared that Trump is guilty, but now at the moment, what's going through is what the punishment will be. And I think this is really fascinating because one of the punishment options that's been floated.
This is not a criminal trial, by the way, just to reiterate.
Yeah, civil trial.
When you say the punishment, you mean the dollar amount he's going to assess.
Well, it's not just the dollar amount, is it? That's the key. That's
Correct.
why this is important. Because there's a potential that whatever is done to Donald Trump through the order of the court, the judge, he could lose, him and his family could lose the right to operate businesses in New York City. And the question that everybody has got to be asking, and if they're not,
New York State, not just the
New York State, even worse than I thought. The question that everybody has to be asking themselves is, would they ever choose to open a business in New York State, knowing that if they have the wrong politics, and let's be fair, what is the wrong politics changes day by day. They might get gone after, if I may use that term. They might get gone after by the prosecutors in the city for something that, now I may have this entirely wrong, but it seems that every business person seems to be saying this is an egregious attack on Donald Trump. All the business people are saying this because to make your business look and sound good when you're applying for a loan or an insurance thing is par for the course, and it's up to the lender to do due diligence. But in this case, everybody made money, including the lenders. So it seems to me that people, New York City and New York State, are making the Empire State a particularly dangerous place to do business. What's
Mark,
your thoughts on that?
I have long demanded that my fellow Americans insist that prosecutors not be allowed to run for office after their terms in office as prosecutors, because so many of them use that office to facilitate their political goals and not the interests of justice, in my view. Sadly, my influence on these matters hasn't extended past the front door of my home with wide agreement.
It's extended into the homes of everybody listening, coast to coast, on the Radio American Network, to Liberty Nation Radio.
But we've seen this time and time again from across, both sides of the political spectrum. In this instance, certainly it is movement, progressive Democrat using their power against the anti-establishment Donald Trump, seemingly, Mark, not to facilitate any kind of justice, but to punish him, like Letitia James said she would during her campaign for office over and over again. She tried, never forget that she tried, that her remedy, she said that the NRA was beset by corruption at the top of its ranks, and instead of saying that it needed to be cleaned out for the benefit of its millions of members, she said it needed to be shut down. And she's diametrically opposed to the political ends of it. It's literally the same as if the NAACP was headquartered in a conservative state and the district attorney for that, or the attorney general rather for that state, found out that the head of it was stealing money from the members, and instead of prosecuting that person, tried to shut down the organization. That's what Letitia James thinks. Again, and I have to say it with a straight face, says, don't think this has anything to do with politics or party identification. It's simply a search for justice and a demand that the people follow the law.
We'll be back after this short break, looking at the Florida case and the much-awaited Georgia case. Don't go anywhere. We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
Don't get caught up in the media madness. Join our movement for free thinking and free speech at libertynation.com. Publishing news and analysis 24/7 with original articles by our team of authors who tell it like it is. Join us each week for online TV shows, The Uprising Podcast, and Liberty Nation Radio. We believe in free thinking and free speech. We are LibertyNation.com.